The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.
Good evening. I would like to call to order the City of Neenah Common Council meeting for Wednesday, August 6, 2025. The first item on the agenda is the roll call. Please indicate your presence on your roll call device, and the clerk will also call the roll.
Alderman Bruno and Alderman Steiner are appearing virtually with the assistance of Director Schneider over there. Schrader, sorry. Alderman Erickson?
Here.
Linsky?
Here.
Ellis?
Here.
Paulnow?
Here.
Here.
Weber?
Here.
Borchert?
Here.
Alderman Linsky will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item on the agenda is introduction and confirmation of mayor's appointments. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the appointment of Lee Hillstrom to the Community Development Authority for the remainder of Pete Lecomte's term expiring April 2028? Any objection? Seeing none, that appointment is confirmed. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Sure.
I thought Lee was already on the CDA.
No, he was as an alderman, but he is not anymore since he's not an alderman. Pete Lecomte stepped off.
But who replaced him as an alderman on the CDA? I'm trying to remember.
Dan Steiner.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of the council proceedings of July 16th, 2025. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of those council minutes and proceedings being approved? Seeing no objection, those proceedings are approved. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to speak during the public forum? This is the opportunity for the public to speak on any topic they would like to. Seeing no one here, we will close the public forum and move on to the consent agenda. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the consent agenda? I will read out the items. Item A, temporary Class B wine and Class B beer license to Bergstrom Mahler Museum for the Glass Arts Festival, August 8th and 9th. Item B, temporary Class B beer license to Fox Valley Labor Temple for Labor Fest, September 1st. And C, temporary extension of Class B combination license to Gord's Pub for Gord's annual street dance on August 9th. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of that consent agenda? Seeing none, those items are approved. The next item on the agenda is reports of standing committees, the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of July 29th. Chairman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. We've got 4 items tonight reporting out from the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting, as you said, of July 29th, 2025. Minutes can be found on the city website. Item number 1. Committee recommends council approve the replacement of the wall-mounted pressure washer with a new machine, including a double trolley system, in the amount of $14,790.32, and that will be coming from the Capital Projects Fund, and I will so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Paulnow. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 2, committee recommends council approve the ECS proposal to perform soil boring services at Kimberly Point Park for future shoreline improvement in the amount of $28,400 utilizing capital reserves, and I would so move.
There's
Second.
a motion by Alderman Lundrum and seconded by Alderman Paulno. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 3, committee recommends council approve the transfer of Class B combination intoxicating liquor and fermented malt beverage license to Sherrytown 3 LLC, doing business as Sherrytown Station, 432 Sherry Street, to Julie Becker, agent, and I so move.
So motion by
Second.
Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Paulno. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 4, and the last item, committee recommends council approve the transfer of Class B combination intoxicating liquor and fermented malt beverage license to Shark Tales LLC, doing business as Town Council Kitchen and Bar at 133 West Wisconsin Avenue. Alex Fehrenbach, agent, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman
Second.
Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Paulno. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for your report. Sorry, the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of July 28th was canceled. So moving on to the Neenah Menasha Fire Rescue Joint Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of July 22nd. Council President Borchert.
Thank you, Mayor. First item for consideration, committee recommends both City of Neenah and City of Menasha Common Councils approve the acceptance of the $200,000 state appropriation for the training tower, and I so move.
There's a motion by Council President Borchert.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Paulno. Is there any discussion on this item? Any comments? I'll just make the comment that we're very grateful for this support. Seeing no other requests to speak, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 2, committee recommends both City of Neenah and City of Menasha Common Councils approve entry into the contractual order for one Impel from Pierce Manufacturing to replace Engine 35 through Sourcewell Consortium. The apparatus for $1,022, oh, excuse me, $1 million, that'd be nice if it was, $1,022,146, which includes the discounted advance payment amount of $227,854 for related equipment, for a total cost not to exceed $1,250,000, and authorize both financial directors to review financing options to approve the most advantageous finance options for both cities for the apparatus. Final delivery anticipated fourth quarter of 2029, and I so move.
There's a motion by Council President
Second.
Borchert, seconded by Alderman Paulno. Any discussion on this item? Alderman Paulno.
Just want to clarify, we're getting, I believe the first payment is due in 2028 for the 2029 delivery, so we get a discount for having an early payment. It's also part of this contract.
Yep.
So that's a good thing.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 3, committee recommends both City of Neenah and City of Menasha Common Councils approve the proposed 2026 budget formula for the City of Neenah's portion being 60.82% and the City of Menasha's portion being 39.18%. And I so move.
There's a motion by Council President Borchert, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
And that is the end of my report.
Thank you for your report. Plan Commission meeting of July 29th. There are no action items to report. The Board of Public Works meeting of August 5th. Vice Chairman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. We've got one action item to report out tonight. Reporting out from the Board of Public Works meeting on August 5th, and minutes can be found on the city website. The board recommends council approve final pay request, contract 14-24, Oak Hill Cemetery and Washington Park Fiber Connection Project to Directional Drilling Services Incorporated in the amount of $80,351.30. I would so move, and the IT director is here if anybody has any questions.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Ellis. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for your report. The Business Improvement District Board meeting of July 29th. Alderman Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. Nothing new to report tonight.
Thank you. The Sustainable Neenah Committee meeting of July 23rd. Alderman Linsky.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, nothing to report tonight.
Thank you. The report from the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting of July 17th. Alderman Weber.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a few things to report. So the Park and Rec Commission met on July 17th. Minutes can be found on the city website. Just a few items of note. There was review and discussion around the Kimberly Point Lighthouse restoration concept plan, so some discussion. And as everybody also has been provided a notice that there's going to be a fundraising press conference tomorrow at the Lighthouse at 10 a.m. It's National Lighthouse Day tomorrow, so if folks are able to attend, please do so. And the second item is just around Carpenter Preserve. The sheep are back, and we have a walkthrough for those that can attend on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Roxy from Woolly Green Grazers will be there to provide any insights to folks. So hopefully, we get a decent showing there and folks can get any questions answered. That concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Do you happen to know where they are meeting for the walkthrough?
Yeah, right at the corner. If you come down Pendleton and then take Nature Trail, go on Kingswood Drive. It's right at the very end of Kingswood.
The sidewalk that
walks. Yeah, the
walks
sidewalk there
Okay.
at the very end of Kingswood on the north side.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. Are there any petitions?
No petitions.
Then moving on to council directives. There was a motion and a second on the council directive by Alderman Paulno. I'm going to make a quick remark ahead of our discussion on this. The council directive is to discuss the pros and cons of new construction versus remodeling the existing facility for Fire Station 31. We had full intention to hold a committee of the whole meeting after the bids come back on August 26th. So that is our intention, to review those bids, solidify the decision to move forward with the remodel. So there's really, in my opinion, not a need for a council directive, since this was already in place and going to take place to do that. We certainly will be discussing this again when we have those bids. So, and in discussing this, then Chief Tesh and I had the opportunity to talk about it, and he created a presentation to bring us all up to speed on what the process was and where we were at with the SEH work that was done. So I'd like to call him up, and everybody give your attention to Chief Tesh.
Probably gotta use this. Does this work? Thank you. I appreciate having a chance to talk about this. So yesterday, there was an email sent out with some questions, and they deserve to be talked about. So tonight, I'm here to clarify those questions, the concerns that were raised about Station 31 and the remodel project. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the current plan and why certain components are combined, the budgeting for non-fire spaces, the decision on general contractor versus construction manager, clarification on the past studies, and respond to why we're not seeking bids for a new construction. So, Station 31, 1080 Breezewood Lane, right? One of the first question asked was, how will the additional maintenance utilities be budgeted for on non-fire related items? If you can remember, this station houses the employee wellness clinic. We do voting there. Some other things are there. Well, we already split the bill. We already are doing this. And if we build new, we would still have to split the costs. The building repairs themselves, that's a 70-30 formula. It's a Neenah only expense. 70% is charged to the fire department, 15 is charged to DPW, 15 is charged to IS. The water sewer dumpster out there, it's on a 90-10 split, and that's an operating expense. So when that gets charged to the budget, it gets charged to the operating budget, and it means Menasha pays a share for that. You know, they pay roughly 40% of the 90% we pay on that. DPW and IS split the other 10%. We Energies, again, is a shared operating cost for maintenance and utilities out there on that 70-30 split. The recycling is a 90-10 split, and it's just 90 for fire, 10 for DPW. And that's a Neenah only share. Stormwater is on that 70-30 split with 15 and 15 being between DPW and IS. So, I believe the next question was, will a construction manager be hired for this project? No, this is going out as a single lump sum bid awarded to a general contractor at risk, who will serve as the prime. They'll carry the insurance, they will control the construction schedule, and they're responsible for their subcontractors, and they'll absorb any defaults or rework that needs to be done by them. So this is commonly called a general contractor at risk arrangement. That's the way this one's being set up. And just a note, when we talk about the construction schedule, it's not like, hey, we'll award this to you and you'll start 5 years from now. They have 300 days to complete the project from the day we sign the agreement. It's 300 calendar days, not 300 working days. And right now, the fine is $1,000 a day for every day past the 300 days that they do go beyond that if they were not to complete it on time. And I'm sure that items like that get negotiated before we sign the contract, but that's what we have in there for the beginning, right? So the next question, why was the fire tower station and training storage locations blended into this one project? Well, that was for logistical reasons. I've been talking about this part for maybe a year and a half now. It's really to maximize efficiency, reduce duplication of mobilization costs, right? We don't want to have a company come in with a crane to do work on the station and then come in the next week with a crane to do work on the training tower site, right? It just does not make sense. And it'll help us ensure consistency across the work. So when it comes to that, though, even though it's one bid document, the logistics are there for that, but the contracts, the payments, the approvals, they all take separate paths, right? So for the training ground improvement, that'll go in front of the Neenah Menasha Joint Finance and Personnel Committee, then off to both councils. Neenah's council here, Menasha's council for approval. The Station 31 remodel itself goes to the Board of Public Works and then to the Common Council for approval, okay? okay? So one project, one bid, but they have two separate paths. There's two different funding sources. There's actually a very clean line on one of the pages of the bid documents that says every work on this part of the project is a Neenah only. Here it's shared. So the previous studies, right? We can get into some of this now. So this started in 2020, October of 2020, with the 5 Bugles design study, where they said it is possible to make the current Station 31 a healthy, efficient, well-designed station by means of a complete renovation. So key word, right? Complete renovation. That study sat for a little while, so in June of 23, Keller was asked to kind of just take a look at it again, and they found that remodeling the fire station would allow for targeted improvements and modifications to address specific deficiencies, right? And somewhere in front of you, you have that Keller study, and on like page 3 or 4, it starts with a list, and I think there's like 16 or 18 deficiencies that they go through, right? So here's a quick before and after, right? How the current station looks and what we're hoping it'll look like. Here's a west side elevation. And here's the south side. And then we don't have a before the east side because that's pretty much this brick wall, so it wasn't worth taking a picture of, but there it is. And then the perception from the perspective from the entrance, and then a straight on from the entrance. There'll be 2 separate entrances, right? One for the clinic side, one for the fire department side. So let's dig into this a little bit more. The demo plans, right? If you look, pretty much everything in red is coming down, right? This is a complete remodel. All the interior walls, except for this one right here, because that's load bearing, is gonna stay, or is gonna go. This one stays. When it comes to these exterior walls, they're actually pulling off the stuff on the outside of the wall, right? They're gonna pull off all the external material, and they're pulling off the internal material. This may sound a little simplistic, but the way I envision it, you know, at some point you're gonna drive by and you're gonna see like the steel columns and can practically see through this building, right? So they're taking off on both sides of these walls. There's gonna be no encapsulation of mold. We're not covering anything up. All of it's getting stripped away and it's gone. So when they put the new stuff back on, they're gonna make proper vapor barriers, proper air gaps for the exterior wall. The interior walls are gonna be sealed off. So if there is ever a moisture problem again, it gets in the walls, it's not coming inside the station, it's gonna be forced to go to the outside, right? So just some more highlight on the demo plans. Basically the yellow around the edges and this load-bearing wall down the middle is what's staying. Like the HVAC system, ductwork is being ripped out. Plumbing is being ripped out. For a little while, we're gonna use the same sewer pipe, and that's just when we're on the one side moving over. We can use the same sewer pipe, but they're gonna dig a new one and give us a new sewer pipe, and when we move back over to the other side, they'll hook up to that one, and even that'll be abandoned. So the new floor plan, it's a lot to go through, so please bear with me, right? Here's just a different version, a color look at it. If you look here, the green is the clinic area. This purplish, whatever would be for the IT storage. And then blue is really fire department space. And this training room is also where we vote, where they have meetings. They'll also be used as a city EOC. But that Keller deficiency, right? We talked about a bunch of deficiencies in there. So number 1, they said lack of drive-through bays for all apparatus. We have one, we're building another one. That'll be a drive-through bay. So we're doubling the amount of drive-through bays that we had. Item number 2 on that list, open concept dormitories present challenges, right? The dormitories there is kind of like old military barrack style. People, bunks out in the middle. No privacy. Well, this is being built with bunk rooms, and you can see that here on the plans. The kitchen does not have a fridge for each shift, which is a common practice. You're right, we only have 2 fridges there, but there's 3 shifts that work out of there. Well, we're putting in 3 fridges when we do this remodel. The 4th thing on their list was the extractor should be located in a positive pressure room away from carcinogens, right? That's this guy right here. That's the extractor. That's just our fancy washing machine that washes our turnout gear. And that's in kind of an airlocked chamber. This whole thing is like on a different pressure, so it's got extra fans to suck out the bad air, keep more air flowing in through there, and keep the hot warm and cold zones separated from each other. So this has all been considered in here, right? This is what we're doing. Number 5 on the list, talked about the fitness room is cramped and undersized for the station. Well, I say it is. I don't think it was designed for that, right? 85 or 80s, 90s, whenever this was built, fire stations were just boxes. A box you put the truck in, a box you put the people in, right? This station has we're adding on for room for the fitness equipment right here, right? So, circulation through the station, through the facility. It's time consuming because it was a shared facility, right, between the tech and between the fire department. Well, this new design pretty much just makes 2 corridors from the living quarters, one by the bunks, one by the day room kitchen area, and they're straight shots right down the hallway, load you right out into the apparatus bay. You're good to go. The restrooms, number 7 on that list of deficiencies. The restrooms are large, multiple stalls. It was the practice back then, right? Essentially, there's 4 restrooms in that building. There's 2. There's a male and a female on the fire department side. There's a male and a female restroom on the old tech side, and they have showers in, right? They're more of a locker room style than a private bathroom. Well, here we're gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different toilets, all private, and 4 of them have showers in them, right? So, ADA issues in multiple parts of the facility, right? This remodel is not something that's, this went off to state for plan review. It came here for plan review. These circles, anybody want to guess what they're for in the bathrooms? ADA compliance?
Wheelchairs.
Yeah, that's the radius for the wheelchair, right? And it even goes a step further, right? NMR, that's not a bad abbreviation for Neenah Menasha Rescue. Anybody want to guess? Guys are always working. Anybody want to guess what NMR is? All right, I'll give you that. It's a nursing mother's room, right? We're building the nursing mother's room in there to be code compliant, right? We've looked at a lot of stuff with this station. So number 9 was no hose tower. We can just leave that there, right? It has a hose tower. Number 10, lack of proper intern storage space for equipment. Well, we're building gear lockers, and that kind of ties in with number 11 here. So facility does not have a turnout gear room. Well, now it will. And it'll have room for 20 gear lockers, right? We're going to station 4, 8, 12 people out of there. We're going to have 8 extra lockers for interns. That problem's solved. Day room is not large enough for the current department, nor is the day room shaped appropriately. Well, it is now. Location should act as an EOC, our Emergency Operations Center. Right now, that's at the PD, right? We're going to move it out here into Station 31, and we're designing a room to be the EOC. So that's right here on the map. And then 14 was facility does not have a conference room. Well, sandwiched in here between the EOC and the offices, where on the plans, I believe it calls a breakout room, that is a conference room, right? We've addressed that in the plan. Number 15, the staff do not have residential washer dryer by the bunk room for stuff like that. You're right, we don't want to mix our bed sheets and our uniforms with the stuff where we wash our turnout gear, right? We want to have separate for that. Well, right off the bunk room here, we have a domestic laundry with linen storage and janitor storage. Number 16, facility lacks a restroom located off the apparatus bay. Again, this is about hot, warm, cold zones, keeping cancer risk down amongst our personnel. Well, right off the apparatus bay here, you got 2 ways to get through it. Through the gear lockers or through this airlock door here. We're going to have 3 bathrooms. 3, and they're labeled on here as dirty bathrooms because they are for getting deconned in, right? There's going to be a control that they're not going to be able to put the water temperature up too high because, in the 90s when this station's built, they didn't worry about cancer presumption, things like that. Now we're finding out if a firefighter comes back after a fire, takes a super hot shower, it opens up their pores. Those carcinogens get pushed back into their body instead of out, right? So we just want nice, lukewarm water showers to take care of that. And we're building this here to take care of our people in this nice airlocked room. Facility should have decontamination room along with other shower. Yeah, we just kind of talked about that here. This whole blue area coming in off of the gear locker or from the bay here is designed just for that. We can get our gear right in there to be washed and get ourselves cleaned up. There's gonna be little lockers right along here, so guys can have, you know, a pair of gym shorts and another t-shirt, maybe a pair of flip-flops in there. They can go right from their dirty gear into a shower, come out clean, get their stuff in the wash machine. Then the last one here, I believe, no SCBA equipment should be stored in a, you know, it needs to be stored in a clean, dry place. Right, that's a place where we do run a lot of training, so we're filling a lot of our SCBA bottles out there right now. We have our tank fill system and our compressor sits right there in the dirty air and sucks all the dirty air in. We're gonna have a compressor that's above the room where the fill station is at. It's gonna be vented to the outside, getting that clean air. So we address this, and we are coming through everything that they found deficient in that station is being taken care of, right? So why didn't we bid for new construction? Well, in 2024, in the CIP budget, we had money to hire the architect to start this remodel. In 25, in this year's CIP budget, we have money for doing the work, right? Like, we are down this path already. Previous councils have decided this. This remodel does address the concerns, the ADA, the safety, decontamination, the space issues. It's not like we didn't listen to the studies. You know, we looked at these studies and they said, hey, you can do this to fix it or you go build new. And we're doing this to fix it, right? So I guess in summary, you know, we're remodeling the station because that was the council direction we were given. The fire station itself and the training grounds, yeah, they're combined into one document, but they are actually two separate projects funded independently, and they'll be contracted independently. Cost sharing for the non-spaces, we're already addressing it. It's already established, and we're going to continue to do it. The general contractor at risk is a simple way to proceed with this. And this plan, what we're doing right now, directly responds to the consultants, the two consultants, these studies. It addresses the deficiencies in their studies, and it does it while being fiscally responsible and keeping our operational needs going and the city's operational needs, right? This place is more than a fire station for the city of Neenah. So with that, I'll just kind of end it there.
Alderman Lundrum.
Thank you, Chief. That was awesome, actually. Two quick questions. The airlock, I've never heard of that. Does that vent directly outside from that room? Is that what an airlock is?
Yeah, that's, you know, don't think of it like airlock like in a science fiction movie. That room's just under a little higher pressure, right? So air from the dirty area can't get in through there into the living quarters area. And there are more powerful venting fans that circulate air in and out of that room faster than they would in a normal room.
Okay, and can I ask one more question?
Sure.
About the,
Yeah, let's stick to the questions for the chief right now before we open up discussion on the motion.
yep, so I can ask about, okay. So in the, yeah, in the training room, I just counted really quick. It's hard for me to read those, the blueprints, but is it like 30, I saw 36 seats, but that you're going to be able to sit on both sides of the table, right? So you can double that, right? Is that right?
Yeah, that can be configured here. We have a little room off to the side for table storage and chairs, so you don't have to have all the tables out at once, or you can make it a big horseshoe or make it so you can sit on both sides, but.
So it'll hold, you know, double that, right? I mean, if you need.
Yeah.
Okay, because some of those groups I think are bigger.
Yep.
Okay,
You can take the tables away and put up more chairs. It'll be pretty versatile, I think.
okay, thank you.
Any more questions for the chief specifically? Well, we'll keep him up here, though. Did you want to, or?
I have.
Okay.
I have a question. How long will this project take from start to finish in 300 days? Okay. And then are you going, what is your plan to, well, you're displaced from this? Maybe I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, thanks for asking that one. That is something I can go back to. If you can bear with me while I flip through these. So here's the current station, right? Oh, am I not? Sorry. This one is the current layout of the station. Here, this side is where the clinic is. Well, it was there. It moved out Monday. And where we have the training room and the room that we use for voting and stuff like that. And then this is where the fire department lives right now, right? So these guys are coming over here and they're gonna live in these rooms here. We're gonna turn these into temporary bunk rooms. There's a divider wall in this big one of those temporary ones that slides out. We'll make do, right? I think it's probably for them, for that part of the project, it's about 6 months, maybe a little bit less. The contractors or the architects that we have, been working with, they can isolate the water and they can isolate the sewer and the power right to that side of the building. And that's partly why that sewer pipe stays, right? Because when we're on that side, we're using that to get rid of the wastewater. And then we'll move back over to the other side of the building once that remodel is done. And then they'll shut off the water, power, electric, everything to that other side of the building and start working on that side. And they have 300 days from when they ink the contract. And if this is going out, bids are back August 26th, so maybe like end of September, early October, we're probably ready with them to ink the contract after we go through the steps of getting everything approved. So they start in October or November, and there's leeway in there for them too. But they do have 300 days to complete it.
Okay, thank you.
Clearly, this is a very big undertaking. I'm excited about it. It was really useful to see all the information from SEH kind of condensed into your presentation, so I really appreciate you doing that. Back to the council directive to discuss the pros and cons of new construction versus remodeling the existing facility for Fire Station 31. Our plan is to have the bids return, open them August 26th, and then convene as a committee of the whole to discuss those bids and just solidify the decision. I think we can pretty confidently make a decision at that point if the bids are in line with what we are expecting them to be. We have every indication that they will be good competitive bids, so hoping for that. And I think we can fairly estimate the cost of building new at that point as well, as we had that information in the Keller study, but we can update that as well. So I will open up discussion then for the motion to discuss the pros and cons. Alderman Pulno.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that's awesome information that we presented. A couple things. I didn't know it was a standing, because when we had spoke, Mayor, you hadn't indicated that we were going to have a committee of the whole, so I'm glad that decision has been made now that we're going to have the committee of the whole, because that didn't come up in our meeting. So that's awesome. That's what I've wanted. Well, you didn't bring that up when we talked, so.
I said that we would be meeting ahead to discuss it when we
Okay.
open the bids.
Okay. But it wasn't, so I think that's good that we're having that. That's all I've ever asked for, a discussion, so everybody can weigh in. So just process-wise then, with that being said, we do have a motion and a second on the floor. And would it be proper then to make the motion complete by saying we're going to have a committee of the whole after the bids? Because as a council directive, the process is you have a single, first and a second, and then 2 weeks to discuss with staff, and then you vote on that, yes or up or down. That's the process. So are we still planning to have this vote because we have a motion on the table, and, that would be the proper process, I would believe.
Yes.
Okay, so would it be, because I would revise that, to have a specific date, if that's warranted, like within a week or two of the bids coming in, or?
I don't necessarily think that we have to set a specific date until the bids are back. We will set that date based on everyone's calendar and availability for that.
Okay.
In a reasonable length of time following the bids being returned. I would say within a couple of weeks,
Yeah, that's what I just said, a couple weeks. So,
or depending on people's availability.
okay. So then,
There's really no need to have a directive to do something that is already happening, is my opinion. So I'm
okay.
just stating that.
Well, so we're still going to move forward with this vote?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Steiner?
Can you hear me? Okay. Or do I talk through?
Oh,
No.
not at all.
1 second. All right, go ahead. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I think in my mind, given that I don't know the exact procedural, details of what needs to be done, but I think given the plan is already that we are going to have a discussion, right, in regards to the bids and committee of the whole, I think that the directive is probably superfluous, and I don't feel like we necessarily need it. I think it's just part of the plan. We're all in agreement. So I agree with the mayor on the point. I think it's good just to go ahead and have it, at the first convenient council meeting after we receive the bids, is my 2 cents.
Alderman Erickson?
Thank you, Mayor. I was just looking at the September calendar. The first council meeting would be on September 3rd, and I think that is too soon from getting the bids, and then we have Labor Day weekend in there. So if we could shoot for the September 17th meeting, which I think would be reasonable, and having information, that's what I would recommend.
That sounds appropriate. Is Alderman Steiner withdrawing his second, or are you still requesting the opportunity to vote?
Are you asking me?
I'm kind of looking at the council president.
Our intention, if we want to, I think procedurally, unless it's withdrawn, the motion
Okay.
is withdrawn, we have to go ahead and
Okay.
vote on it.
Okay.
But I think, again,
Is there
I
any
think what I'm
further discussion on it then? Alderman Lundrum.
Who withdraws a motion? Does the original author have to withdraw it, or can anybody?
I believe that,
The original author.
Only the original author can do that.
you're right.
Okay, because it's kind of a pointless situation right now, but
Right.
whatever.
Alderman Weber?
I just would like to ask for clarification, what would we be voting on? Because the language in the directive is not what I understand is going to be the discussion when we have a committee of the whole.
Yeah, the vote belongs to the body, and it is on what the original directive is,
Okay,
period.
That's what I
So
thought.
either up or down.
thank you.
Alderman Bruno?
Yes, my question is regarding what is on the discussion, the question, the remodeling versus the new building. So is this the topic that you plan to discuss when you will have the bid or not? As Alderman Weber just told us, is it what we will discuss or not?
I believe that we would be discussing the bids that are being returned to evaluate if that is the appropriate direction that we then want to take moving forward with the remodel.
Okay, so if numbers are not good enough,
Then we would,
you will be able to reevaluate at this time, saying, okay, now we are going to the wrong direction. Maybe we should reconsider the project.
correct.
Okay.
Alderman Paul, oh, I'm sorry, are you done?
Yes. No. I would say
Okay.
that if we can reconsider at this time regarding numbers, then I think that's good enough for me. Yeah.
Alderman Paulno?
Thank you. I mean, my intent is to discuss, if we get the bid back and it's a high compared to what we expected, then I think, to me, it's a no-brainer that this situation has to be rectified, so the discussion would be, at that time, do we just get a bid for new? So I think that discussion will still take place.
Yep.
If the numbers are too high. So I guess I don't see any problem with the wording as is, because it's committee of the whole, so we can discuss anything we want. Doesn't mean we have to take action on any of it, it's just a discussion, so anybody can discuss anything they want.
Alderman Ellis?
Thank you, Mayor. Listening to the conversation tonight, Bill and I have spoken, and Brian has been, and we've had many conversations on this subject. And Chief, I would like to thank you for a great presentation. I bring that up on behalf of those of us who weren't around when this whole thing started, myself included. So you helped bring us up to speed on where we were, where we are, and where we're, the path and the direction that we're going to take. And I commend Alderman Paulno for the directive effort that you put together to bring this to light. And I think this is some of the most robust conversation I've seen from the council in quite a while, and hats off to everybody. That being said, with the mayor sharing that we will be doing the committee of the whole, and we are going to be talking alpha to zeta. All right, I don't believe that we necessarily need to vote as this is a council of the whole, because we're on tape, we're on camera, and we have commitment, and that's where I would sit on this one. But I would hope that as more projects come forth, that we have these robust conversations and thinking outside the box into what if land. Well done, everybody.
Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, Alderman Erickson.
Thank you. As far as parliamentary procedure goes, I still think we need to vote, and I'd like to call the question.
Thank you. That's what I was just about to do. Seeing no further discussion, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion fails, 6 noes to 3 ayes. The next item is the council directive to direct Mayor Lang to work with Mayor Hammond and Chief Tesh, which is what Alderman Paulno and I met with Chief Tesh, and to discuss a little bit about that as well. So as you probably know, we have been well underway on this process as well. I've met with Mayor Hammond, the chief, and the assistant chief. We've met several times to discuss this process. This is typically a process that takes place with staff creating an RFP, and that is what the chief, assistant chief, the mayor of Menasha, and I are working on at the moment. We are attempting to make this RFP the best that it can be, not just to get it quickly done. And we can't, as the Neenah City Council, actually dictate what Menasha does in regards to funding this study or the timing of it. So Mayor Hammond, Chief Tesh, and the Assistant Chief, Shane Kruger, will include at the time that the RFP is out and proposals come back to us, we would include the 2 council presidents in discussion once those RFPs are back, and then we would go from there as far as presenting it to councils on both sides. So it's quite an undertaking to do things when you have a joint department like this, because it requires discussion and buy-in from both communities. So I just wanted to lay that out there. That has been also well underway. So I'm not in favor of a 90 days to perform that analysis, seeing as we are in the process of getting that RFP to what we want it to be and getting it out. So I will open discussion on that. Alderman Palmo.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to commend you for the work on this. We had originally talked about this in February, and I know there's been trials and tribulations trying to coordinate schedule and all those things. My intent wasn't to dictate anything, it was to help give support publicly from the council on this initiative, because as anything goes, there's political fallback and bullback if somebody is perceived that they're doing something on an island, such as yourself or something. And I didn't want to see that, because I thought it was an outstanding idea, outstanding process. I know it would be tough because a lot of times people don't want to be audited. So the whole intent was to get this in front of the council to discuss. And if this doesn't pass, I'm fine. You have a process going, but it was to weigh the council and allow them to discuss this. And I know, or I don't know, I feel that they would be fully supportive of this. So that was the intention of this council directive. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Alderman Ellis.
Thank you, Mayor. And again, Bill, I understand where you're coming from, since I took a couple of swings at the bat a time ago, and the door is never totally closed. It's going to swing from time to time. And again, I commend the mayor, and I commend the Menasha mayor, and I commend our fire department and folks like Bill and the rest of us that have had these kind of questions. And I encourage our council as well, that as these things come up, to, as I've shared with President Borkert, to find an avenue for us to start to have these kinds of conversations, because what I think, well-informed and having good, healthy, intellectual, respectful conversation can do nothing but make Neenah as great as it can be. Thank you, Mayor.
Is there any additional discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion fails 8-1. Next item on the agenda, is there any unfinished business? Is there any new business or any announcements?
Can I do one?
Oh, sure.
I just want to let everyone know, I'm sure you saw on your desk that I put the printed mayor recommended capital improvement plan for 2026 through 2030. I also just sent out an email to show the link where we have it out on our website as well, for those that would like to look it on the website. And a reminder that we will be having our workshops for these on the night of August 18th and 19th, and I believe Shar had already sent out invites for that.
Thank you for that announcement. Are there any additional announcements? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
The City of Neenah is pleased to provide video recordings of City Council meetings. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents from the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or completing the electronic feedback form on the city website. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited.